Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!
Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel, and I want to talk today focusing kind of on some of the newer players who are joining the game. And for those that don't know, the game's been out a little over 3 years now, but we still have new servers opening up for new players all over the place, as well as older players who are wanting to start newer accounts and kind of get an experience of what the game is like now, because it's vastly different than when I first started when it first came out back in November 2018. I know many of you are curious the process that Scopely goes through when it comes to like merging older servers and starting new ones. Simple thing is, look, new accounts, new people, new servers. It really is as basic as that. And the more, of an influx of new talent, and that's what we'll call you new players, you're new talent because you're awesome, come into the game, well, the more there's a need for opening up new ones. And that means that we need to talk about some of the basics again. And it's been a while since I've explored a lot of these. And after talking with people like, Beck Likes Plants, for who's that don't know, she's a content creator who's doing a lot of Star Trek stuff on Twitch. There's a lot here because we forget that this is an MMO, a massive multiplayer online game shoved into a mobile platform. And while yes, we play on PC, I'm playing on BlueStacks here on my level 20 server 63 account, it is still something that maybe not a lot of people who game are used to. So what I want to do today is go over the UI and kind of use this as a tool of what you should focus on, understanding where things are, and then using those to implement what you need to implement. Maybe even some things that you should ignore and not really bother looking at. Hopefully this video helps. And if it doesn't, well, watch it anyway, okay? Because I'm a content creator and we need your help. By help, I mean you just support me by watching. Literally, watch the video, comment to the end, like, subscribe, all those fun things. So I'm gonna go from top, and we're going to make a big old circle going clockwise. So we're going to start over at the top right of our screen. We got our parts steel, titanium, and lithium numbers. Now, you can see the protected cargo listed here. One good change about this game is if you were to go raid a base, it only shows you materials that can be raided instead of showing them the complete amount of materials inside of a base. So a lot of bases getting cracked and opened up and then attempted to be raided for no reason, because you can't actually get loot from them, is thankfully pretty much a thing of the past. We don't worry about that really anymore. But we do still have these to let you know where you're at resource-wise and what's protected. You can see that you can hold a maximum of 99,000 before your generators shut off, which is a problem, by the way. We have been fussing at them for the generators to serve a purpose for 3 years. They basically don't, because once you have enough materials, they just stop. And that lists what you can protect and how much you can actually hold. Funny enough, you can protect more than you can hold. Here, that doesn't make any sense. But welcome to Star Trek Fleet Command, where sometimes things don't make sense. Now, I will go ahead and tell you the sale button here simply is another way to access the store. It is not always here. And honestly, sale is a very relative term. Nothing's really for sale. There's not a lot of packs that just like get discounted and then they're there. Sale simply says something that they believe has value for a particular thing that's going on. For example, if there's an Apex event, and we'll talk about events here shortly, then they'll maybe sell something like a Stella pack or something related to events that are going on, but it's not really a sale. It's not Black Friday here where a $100 pack is now $50. It'd be nice if that was the case, but simply not. So honestly, this is one of the ones that you can probably ignore. Scopely probably doesn't like us saying that. Event button is one of the most important ones that you can have, and this is going to cover your main events, daily events, which are things that you should look at, especially for rep grinding. You see my Klingon and Federation ones. I have a positive rep. We'll talk about that in a little bit later. And then things that you can do every day. This being one of the most important missions I talk about, pays out good titanium, but then also you get ship XP, uncommons, and then ship parts. It's something that I really encourage people to go after if they can. Those are your events, and then event store, which happens at the end of an arc. So like right now, we're in the Ferengi arc at the time of this recording. Second month's going to start, and if that arc goes 3 or 4 months, it'll have an event store at the end of it. And this is where your events get listed that you can work on every day or choose not to, because it's up to you. Then you've got this help button, which I still believe that there's no reason that this should open up a separate screen, but that button will appear when you can send helps to your alliance. For those who don't understand how the help mechanic works, it applies to things like this, and what it'll do is reduce either 1 minute or 1% of the total time. So if there's something that's going to take a player 10 days to research or to build, hitting that help button will reduce it by 1%. And if it's 10 minutes, then it's going to reduce it by like a minute. So let's go ahead and jump over here. This is your claims chest. This is one of the things that you need to do every single day. and you don't necessarily need to spam the 10-minute one because it really doesn't have great rewards. But as a low-level player or a new player, it can give you a little bit of things that maybe you wanted. Just go check it, maybe get you some speed ups that you're lacking on, or something like that. 4-hour chest, 24-hour chest, self-explanatory. And then the loyalty chest. This is what you would get when you get your dailies done, and we'll talk about dailies in a little bit. But once you complete your dailies, you'll get loyalty badges, and this is just a way for you to get rewarded for spending time in the game. You can do this once a week, and then that can turn into once a month-ish, every 28 days, where you get extra resources and start working on officers. Sadly, for those wondering, this officer is of basically no use except for things like away teams and stat stacking, which we can talk about in another video. And then here's the 30-day chest, which you can do every 28 days if you stay up to date with the things that you're clicking on. Basically these. Now we'll go ahead and tell you, for these lower level players, I would recommend waiting to level 23 to turn these in, because that's where you start getting Devore blueprints, where I'm level 20 and I don't see that at all. So just a fun note for some of you newer players, hold off on turning in those tokens on the 30-day chest. Moving down, we've got the shield button to launch a shield. Make sure that you're doing that as often as possible. Exocoms, this is to activate an exocomp if you have something that you want to use. It is pretty self-explanatory. This is your bookmarking and search feature. So you can actually go and search for things like, let's say that I wanted to know, where is the system's soul? I don't simply remember where it's at. So we'll go here, we'll click it, we'll tell it to go, and then we can find where that system is at. You can see it's up here far away from me. But if we go back to the system that I'm in, you can also use that same tab to access bookmarks. So let's just say this was my favorite system for grinding Romulans, because I'm doing my rep grind. Well, I can go and save this as, hey, Romulan grind system, save it in my favorites, save that bookmark, and then when I click here, I'll be able to easily get there by clicking this button. You can also use several different ones. Galaxy view does exactly as you would expect, goes to galaxy, so you can see the entire map in the game, depending on where you want to go. Exterior will bring you back to the exterior of your station, and then of course, interior will do the same. At the very bottom of the UI, you will have your various ships and docks. That way, if you are getting a new dock, say, you hit level 15, you want to get that third dock, or you're hitting level 28 and getting the fourth dock, or you're buying the fifth dock at level 31, or if you're getting the next dock after that at level 39, 38, whatever. They're all down here at the bottom. They stay pretty much the same. Navigating through that UI is pretty simple. You got your upgrade, your officers, main stats, and details. And we have a lot of videos explaining what a lot of these numbers mean and how they work. Moving to right behind me, we've got two inbox button, which can be confusing for many of you out there because it doesn't actually take you to your inbox. Sorry. It takes you to your battle reports, and the inbox up here has never worked. It will never be anything that I'm aware of. So don't worry about that saying inbox. This is simply to check your battle logs, not for checking your inbox. So then you got the alliance button, which will open up several different tabs. Territory for if your alliance is taking over a territory. Armadas for if they're launching armadas. Exocoms, this is only for high level players in the 40 pluses for alliance exocoms. And you got your contributions, then you've got your diplomacy rewards, which you do want to make sure that you're taking these. This is if anybody in your alliance buys a pack, there's always going to be an alliance gift associated with that. So it's free resources for you. Then you got the store button. This is important, so pay attention. Not only do you have all of these, which are just various options you can go through, like Crucible of War, which we just finished. And now that I've leveled up, I should probably turn some of these in, but we'll worry about that after the video. But if you look at the bottom, this store tab actually works for everything that is store related. For example, we've got our regular store to spend money in. We've got the gifts section, which we were in before. Recruit tab, if we want to recruit officers. All here is at the bottom. Resources, for if we have purchased a pack or want to turn in materials. Alliances, which is the main one that we were just at. Territory, if you have territory and you want to turn in for particles, things like that. Consumables is your exocoms. Away teams for the away team store and for rep grinding in that particular store. To keep going, you've got finally multiphasic, which is what you can use if you are purchasing packs in the PC client or the web store. And this is kind of like the return program or the bonus program if you're a PC or web player with a Scopely ID. Very important to know that you can go through all those different tabs from the store menu. All right, now moving on, you've got your eye here. It's on that side. You can activate your daily goals here. These are the things that you want to complete every day. Finishing these gives you those loyalty tokens and then eventually the photon tokens we talked about for the 7-day and 30-day chest. Now, Bear in mind, you do not need to finish all these depending on what level you are. And we do go through this. I mean, generally when I'm on Twitch, it's one of the things that we do is go through my dailies. You just simply need to collect all the boxes. So if you've got 5, you just want to get as many points to do 5 or 4. You completing all of these is up to you. Real quick, people ask about this all the time. The Syndicate button that you see here, the Syndicate icon, that only signifies daily events that can be increased by the Syndicate rep. Is not actually seeing any increase here. Like, you don't get Syndicate rep for completing that. Away teams, one of the most important parts of the game early on that you want to be using, and you can see I'm utilizing here, can be accessed through that little I button and at the very top. And then finally, missions on the left side. And these are going to be something that as a newer player, you're spending a lot of your time going through missions and collecting the rewards from there and going through all those various steps. You see, I actually need to do that right here with this mission. It's a very important mission that I have not been working on. So we're going to send our ship out there and then go back through it. All right, on the left side again, if you click this, you can have your academy, or I'm sorry, your research and building areas, as well as any ships that you're building, like the North Star I'm putting together right now. And it can be easily collapsed to make it a little bit easier on the eyes for the UI. Above, probably one of the most important panels, ship building. So if you want to build a ship, this is where you would find the blueprints. If you do have them. If you don't have them, you can see the details of a ship, like, hey, USS Discovery, which I cannot build until level 21, gives you some of the basic information about those before you are building them. Now we can also go over to our officers tab, where we would recruit, probably the most important tab in the game, because officers are really this game. Officers and research are the name of this game, and that is something that you want to work on in your main UI, turning in really as often as possible. Factions, also extremely important, where you have the 5 major factions currently in the game, hopefully more getting added. We've got Federation right here, Klingon, Romulan, Augment, and then finally Rogue. Now, you will need to slowly progress through these through the game, but this is somewhere that you'll spend a lot of time. At the very top, you can see various currencies for that particular faction that you need to earn or procure. And then you also have this section right here, which shows you the rep for each individual faction that you're in. And as I always recommend to new players, dual faction grinding. Pick 2 factions and try to push them together so that you can take advantage of all the rewards that they can give you, such as, and most importantly, recruiting officers. You want to max out as many officers quickly as you can. So I'm always in this tab trying to pull those and go through that. Finally, the items menu, very similar to the store menu, will have a bottom rung where you can access almost anything that you have in the game item-wise. For example, your speed ups tab to let you know how many speed ups you have for either buildings or ships. Then you've got the materials to let you know what materials you currently own for various things like 2-star, 3-star materials for leveling up ships. Then you've got the other tab for things like your shields and trade XP. How many tokens do I have for alliance credits? Resources, and this is an important one. Many players don't know, from this tab you can actually click on these, use them, and then manually select how many resources you pull from your game. Something that you don't see a lot of players using because they're not aware it's there. Territory, self-explanatory. This is all your territory materials. Consumables will show you what exocomps you currently have, and that tab works similar to the one above. And then once again, probably the most hated tab of all, the refinery tab. You've got to do it. You hate it, but you got to do it. This is something you'll go through here and just slowly go through these and try to pull materials where you can. And you can do this twice a day, and you want to do it twice a day, even though it always feels like you're not getting enough. You will definitely feel it if you're not using it. You've got these ship parts menu. We're hoping that they'll actually go and update some of the other scrolls like they did here with the refinery, where you're able to just have it all at the left and click through what you want. We want the store to look like this. We want the officers tab to be cleaner. We want all these to get an update, and that's where you can discover them here. You can see level 25 to start doing territory research and capture, which is important. There's your discovery refinery. Then you've got resources, which is your swarm grinding, which you can do with a Franklin or with any ship, but Franklin being the best. And then you got Borg for your Borg probes, and then finally Latinum for either your Devore or your Fisha. Remember, level 23 to start getting those Devore blueprints to start working on this aspect of the game. Finally, Syndicate at the top. One of the most important, make sure you do this every day because you get free pulls right here. It's important to pull that Syndicate rep. Then we've got our store button if we want. At the very top, you can use this to access your power or alliance's power across the individual server that you are on. And then last but not least, right here is your profile where you can access settings, get help with the game, put in tickets, change, various things like the music's playing, all of the basics, and to make sure that you log in and have your account tied to this. And then last, I guess second last, this is your Alliance tab. And if you were curious where to access your private messages, it is right there on the end of this tab right here. If you want to access your private messages, you got to go through the tab at the top, which is where you'll find your Alliance. Now, this is a basic covering of the UI. There's a lot more here. Like if you go to the Galaxy tab and I was to click this button, it will tell me what resources are in each system that I've explored. But in terms of the basics, that's the UI of the game, what everything does, where it goes, and how often you should be using each one and how often you're going to be clicking these. It's a lot. One good thing I do like, if you go into systems and you're grinding, which I spend a lot of time grinding rep, this one right over here helps clean up the UI a little bit. It's your battle mode. So hopefully this helps. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments section below. If you're a newer player, I'm happy to help you out in any way that I possibly can. And if you want to help out this video, well, simple. All you got to do is like it. Little thumbs up video or thumbs up button in the video right over there. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Notified of every time we put out a video. Click that little bell. Deuces, that's me. I hope I helped you today. Live long and prosper. Stay safe with our Space Cowboys. I apologize for the length of this video, but due to the nature of it and with so many players out there, I feel it's important for us to revisit some of this and maybe even go through some of those basic tips of like, hey, here's 5 things that every player should be going through. Let me know what you want to see, no matter if you're a new player or an old player. Comment section down below. Y'all are awesome. Bye. I'm outie. I'm not doing another outro.
Fancy intro music, yeah! Woo!